welcome to the podcast. This is Cola and everybody else because I forgot their names. I mean Jack and Walker. I'm just kidding. I'm just
You're,
kidding.
you're like you're like the horrible host at the party.
It's like just kidding, just kidding. Um, but yeah, does anybody have a fun fact?
Yeah, sure. Uh, the echidna, the little hedgehog-looking animal, actually is one of the few animals that can sleep in the middle of a forest fire.
Damn, Sonic
Do
is
they
like
bury themselves?
Sonic is like
Yeah,
Knuckles, help me! Everything's on fire. And then
he's
Knuckles is
like, it's
like,
all good. Like, yeah. So basically, they bury themselves. Yes, exactly right. They bury themselves into the dirt, and their bodies are actually able to withstand high amounts of heat, up to like they've been known to handle temperatures up to like 130 degrees.
nice. That's cool. Fucking Knuckles.
Yep. Do you know the way?
All right, I got a fun fact. Um, so since most people are right-handed during World War II, most German soldiers trained themselves to eat with their left hand, so that when they all started eating, whoever was not eating with their left hand was suspected of being a spy. They did that
That kind of makes.
they did that so it could make spies easier to spot.
How do you put up the number three with your fingers? How
Yeah,
do you
this
do
is
it?
from like a you're
Mm.
supposed like Americans do this, but then Germans do this.
Oh, Germans do that? I thought it was
Yeah.
this.
They count from their thumb.
Nightcrawler does this.
Yeah. So that's one of the ways they figure out who are spies, by seeing if anyone is eating with their right hand instead of their left hand.
Okay, so it's like kind of one of those like ingrained secrets of their military.
Yeah, they
So
train all the soldiers to eat with their left hand. And then if all the soldiers are eating together and then there's someone who's eating with their right hand, they're going to be suspected as a spy.
mhm, interesting. I mean, to create a quirk like that. Uh, but wouldn't that work on the flip side, where you're training someone to eat with their left hand only, and what if they go to the opposite side and you find out that they're right-handed, but they're mysteriously eating with their left hand? Then it's just like,
I mean, I think it's like something that everyone knows, but I don't know. That's just what I read for my fun fact.
well, yeah, but if you're just going to be a spy going to that the other enemy lines, but you're trained like a like that kind of soldier, then it's just like, it's very odd if you're right-handed and you're not eating with your right hand.
Yeah. Yeah, but as Cola was pointing out earlier, I think there's that one movie, Inglorious Bastards, where all the Nazis were able to figure out who was a spy based on how they counted the number three. So it's kind of like a similar thing
Mm,
where they counted their thumb first, then their index, then their middle finger, instead of how most Americans do it with their index, middle, and ring finger.
we need to start creating a new way to count to three, or displaying three, just two index fingers and an erect penis, and it's boom.
All right. A fun fact for me. So apparently, the first cameras on phones were used for deaf people, so they can sign on their phones. But this is like early '90s technology. So when that happened, they put it on phones, but then it just evolved into people taking photos and recording themselves.
Mm.
So yeah. Remember, don't you guys remember like when you got your phones? Like, why do people have cameras on their phones, right? Do you guys never? Who uses that? Because the picture quality was pretty bad back in the day.
I figure people still want to send pictures and text and stuff. So,
That's true.
but at the time, like there was a lot of it cost a lot just to send a picture. You were charged in megabytes for how much data you sent.
For a
And you
grainy
charge
picture.
per text too. Shit.
Yeah, and you're charged per text, per like letter. I'm like, fuck. Back in the
It's like
day,
10 cents a text. I'm like, forget it.
there's
You
no
get
4G.
Oh, I remember 100 text messages per day.
I know.
And
Companies
if you
used
go
to
over that, they charge you.
We always went for the unlimited text plan. Unlimited text in minutes after like 9 p.m. But okay, so the intention was originally for sign language.
Yeah, for sign language. But I mean, they did it in Japan first, right? I think they were above, far beyond us, when it becomes technology like that. But yeah, it's for signing and sending it out. But then after that, people like, hey, but you take pictures on it, you can send videos and stuff like that. So now that's why it's kind of a custom thing on your smartphones now.
Cool.
Like I do everything but talk on my phone. So
That's it's a pretty fun fact. How many of you actually came up with your fun facts on the fly?
all the time. I just remember this one. I was like, I need something right now.
I have a
I just
list. I have a
Mm.
list in a file, so I just sort of like, okay, I
So
got.
you know how to operate in a crisis. Speaking of operating in a crisis, today's topic is how we would react in any sort of crises like situations or disasters. Cola, why don't you start?
since it's raining and it's flooding in certain areas of my neighborhood, get that to go bag ready. Just your essentials, your social security card numbers, and just one pack. That's it. And laptop and everything else, you can just toss away.
Wait,
I'm ready
what?
for that. What are you talking about?
It's a go bag or
A to go bag,
a bug
just in
out.
case something happens, like the house is on fire,
Oh,
or like a house is on fire,
I heard
flooding.
rain, and then like all of a sudden you just get your to-go bag, your social security card. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Get your social security card
It's
because
the
you
raining
never
out. It's
know.
raining outside.
It's also called. It's not called a to go bag.
What
It's
is it
called
called?
a bug out bag.
A
I don't
bug
know.
out bag or
Yeah,
emergency
I
bag?
never even heard of that.
or emergency bag. Bug out bag. It's because when you got
Bug
a.
out bag.
I don't know why it's called bug
Bug
out.
out?
Yeah, it's called bug out bag. Look it up.
What? I have never heard of those terms.
It's like an emergency bag you'd take when you got to leave real quick in an emergency.
And to-go bags are in restaurants.
Yeah, to go bags in restaurants.
A bug out
Well,
bag.
yeah, I mean, even right now, like if the power goes out, like I think we have battery banks ready to go, things fully charged just in case the power does go out.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's pretty rainy and it's windy right now, so it's gonna happen eventually.
And stock up on toilet paper.
Yeah, I don't know, but how would you handle yourself? How would you handle yourself in a crisis situation, like something that just happened?
Oh, I seen it before. I mean, I think I witnessed a car crash right in front of me.
Uh,
I saw it immediately. I was driving with somebody on the passenger. I was just driving slowly, and I was like, "Why is this person driving so crazy?" And all of a sudden, you see the person just, veer over to the wall and just smash the wall, and then the car sliding across the highway and then back and forth. because it was I mean, this person was going really fast, but it was flying back and forth thing, and I just like slowed down a little bit, and I just once I got the clear, I just drove right off, right ahead, because I'm not gonna deal with that. It's not my crisis, but if I ever, I mean, I didn't even panic. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make slow down, make sure this thing's clear, and I didn't even check upon the person. Like at that point, it's just like, yeah, that person driving super fast could have put a lot more people in danger. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like it's very preventative because like I've seen people do that before too, where it's just like they had one dude was driving, he had one knee and his elbow on the fucking steering wheel while trying to text on his phone and driving on the freeway, and I'm just like, all right, you are not going to be my problem. I'm just gonna get ahead of you, and that's it.
Yeah, I think that's the key is try to
avoid
preempt
as much,
and
stay
avoid
calm,
potential problems and stay calm. Yeah.
stay calm, assess the situation around you, if it's safe or not, and try to get out. Try to go find somewhere safe to go. And for me, that was the situation. Like, I got to get out of here.
So I've been telling Jack this too, but I've been watching this guy, Scary Interesting. Uh, Basically, he tells a lot of true story tales from like people's experiences with like a lot of it focuses around like cave diving and like deep diving, but there's a lot of other ones called like collection of horrible fates and stuff where it results in loss of life or still to this day missing people, and it's just like handling those crisis situations like when they come about, and it does talk about like you know um, how you can prepare as much as you want, but sometimes like bad shit just happens. So it's like how like it becomes that much more important on how you deal with it and like what to do in the midst of those panic situations.
Yeah. I mean, the easiest thing, it's easier said than done, but the first thing that comes to mind is don't panic. But at that point, you don't know how you're going to be in that situation. So
Yeah,
you
a
just
lot
got
of
to
this deep,
take a deep breath and collect your thoughts and get your bearings.
yeah,
That's like the
like
most important thing to do.
there was one that talked about like especially like with deep diving like at some there's sometimes because you have a limited amount of time in the water, like your oxygen can only go for so long, and then there's times when you're deep diving and then like if you're not fully aware of your position, like there's a bunch of silt and stuff that covers your peripheral vision to where you can't tell where you are, and then that creates a panic state in even professional divers. And we are talking about like one time like there was a deep diver that was just, diving along, and that situation happened to him, but he wasn't panicking. But next thing you know, he's like everything went dark, like everything just became pitch black, and what he didn't realize was that he just got swallowed by a humpback whale. And like because he was like feeling around and he just like felt a bunch of like squishy muscle and stuff, and then whale spit him out. But it's just like that was like one of the things that's never happened before. And it's like holy crap. But, yeah. What about you, Jack? What panic situations have you encountered?
Well,
And
I
like,
haven't been scuba diving or anything, but I feel like in a tense or emergency situation, it's you just got to take a deep breath and figure out what to do or what's going on, and try to um, like not panic or anything. Easier said than done, but like for example, if you get in a car wreck or something happens, don't just get all hysterical or emotional. Do the right thing and go out, take pictures, ask if ever anyone's hurt, all that. I think I passed by, like, I was in traffic. This was a while ago, but I was in traffic and I witnessed like a little fender bender. And then I noticed like they did the right thing. They moved off to the side and then got
Some people
out.
don't even do that.
Yeah. Moved to the side, got out, asked them if they're okay and all that. I mean, compared to what you see in these crazy YouTube videos or TikToks where people are just get outside, start yelling at each other, or I think there was a crazy like video I saw where some guy like cut him off, and so he went in front of him. He did a brake check on him, and then he pissed off the guy behind him. And then as the guy behind him drove in front of him, he pulled out his gun and started shooting at him. And then this was dumb because he didn't have his windows open, so he shot through his own window at the other guy. I'm like, what the fuck? That's crazy. I'll send you guys a video. But yeah, there's some crazy people.
What
Yeah, you
if
don't want to
you
piss
were
off the wrong person.
what if you were a pedestrian that got hit by a car and your first instinct was to get up and be like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, I mean,
like
if you're
that's
the pedestrian, then
God.
yeah, I don't know what to do about that.
Mm.
Luckily, you have to. The only thing you can do is like probably preempt it. Like, don't do like if you see like a driver going all crazy or hear something, you probably want to be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, don't wear headphones,
Yeah,
no earbuds and stuff like that. Yeah, it's kind of dangerous.
Were you
Dangerous
guys
now.
ever hit? Where were you guys ever hit in a car accident?
Hit by a car?
Yeah.
I was hit by a car before.
yeah, I got in some fender benders.
I was just walking across this on this.
How'd you
I was just
handle
walking
it?
across the street and somebody hit me right there. It's like, yo, there's a stoplight right here. They hit me. I rolled over top of the car, and I was like, Nalina got up, looked at the woman, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then she drove off. I'm like, this. I was like, this crazy lady.
Bye.
And I would have like taken a picture of the license plates and just sued the shit out of her. Should have done that.
I mean, like, it's just I'm sorry, and then drive off. Like literally
Hit and
no
run. That's
other
a hit and
action.
run. Yeah,
What the hell?
it's a hit and run.
Wow.
But like for me, like I mean, luckily I was able to get up and then walk to work. But I was like on that train ride to work, and I was like, fuck, I should have got her license plate and sued the shit out of her.
Uh, I got hit. I got hit while I was riding my bike, like at a crosswalk. This is when I was like 13, and I was like riding my bike, and like I think for me back then, like riding your bike on the sidewalk was a normal thing. Like I don't know if you guys agree with that.
Yeah, on the kids, you're allowed to ride on the sidewalk.
Yeah. So then I was riding my bike on the sidewalk, and I was crossing the crosswalk. Comes this big old van like barreling down the hill. They're not able to stop because they're on a hill, and then they basically like T-bone like into my bike, the front half of my bike, and completely knocked me over. And obviously me being a kid, I had no understanding of like accountability and responsibility for myself and other people. So I just got up and like, what the fuck? And I just rolled off. Like nothing happened. And then there's probably like a whole bunch of eyewitnesses and just like, oh my god, is that a kid okay?
Like you only hit the front of the bike, right?
Yeah, he hit the front of the bike. There was like barely any contact with my body in that instance. But it's just like, if I were older, I'd be like, man, motherfucker, you paid for my bike. It's like $30, but you pay for my bike.
Did the guy even stop and say, "Are you all right?"
Oh, no, because it was Mexican. Like it's like he could easily have played like the whole like I don't speak English card. I mean, if he wanted to.
Dang.
Yeah. That was like that was my instance of that. But even in those situations like of intense stress, I'm surprisingly not as stressed as I should be. Granted, I actually got
Maybe because you made it out alive. That's why.
possibly. I mean, for like even recently, I got rear-ended. And it was like I didn't really care. I knew the steps to I knew the steps on how to like handle the situation. And it's just like, all right, get each other's information, like take pictures, and then file a claim with your insurance. Uh, if you wanted to file a police report, that's going to take hours because they actually don't show up. And there's a high chance that even if you call the police department, they haven't been showing up to any sort of accident sites when they're being requested. They just kind of have to be in the area. So, um, like even when I got rear-ended, like I can't say that I was 100% calm. It was like because when I got hit, I was still feeling the effects of the hit. So like my hands were sort of trembling and stuff like that. My back and my neck went numb like instantly. So I'm just like it's really something that you do not expect in your day. So it's like you're trying to process everything that's going on.
How fast was the guy going?
I'd say he probably was going like 15, 20, but he was in a much bigger car. So I mean, he hit my car hard enough to damage his car. So that kind of tells how fast he was going. And my car is actually like a small car and very like brittle compared to like this big bulky truck. Yeah. So yeah. Well, so I remember Cola like you were you were in the middle of a fire on the freeway and all you did was just like send me videos and pictures of the fire.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't. I wasn't driving. I wasn't
Oh,
driving. It was the other guy. The guy who was driving me was driving, and I just recorded the whole thing. I was like, the driver was super calm. He's like, "Okay, let's drive through the fire. Let's drive. We drive through the smoke because we couldn't see anything, so he just drove right through the smoke.
This was during the time there was all those fires going on, right?
Yeah, so he drove right through the smoke, but like we didn't see anything. He just kept going,
Holy.
and I was
it
like,
was it was it was really weird because like with all the smoke and the soot, it was just like everything was sepia tone.
I remembered when there was fires from another place and they transferred over into the city, and it was just everything was just blanket red. Right, it was ridiculous. Like I mean, back then I should have thought about wearing a mask and stuff like that, but I mean, it was blanket red, and it was COVID that happened and stuff like that. Like even when COVID happened, I didn't even wear a mask until and they're like, oh, yep, they're telling everybody at work to stay home. Blah blah, and people are dying and getting sick and stuff like that. And then it's like after 2 months, it's like, oh, yep, this is real. So yeah, I was like, yeah, I was like, got all the masks I could and try to stay as far as people as much as possible. But yeah, I mean, did I even get the shot? It took me a while to get the shot though. And I figured even if it was free for me. So
One question now. It's just like given that we've gone through like pretty much the horror stages of the pandemic, what do you think qualifies as a crisis now? Because I think even people showing up without a mask and coughing was like the high point of like, oh shit, there's something wrong.
I think at this point it's like it has to be the end of the world before for me to panic. So
Yeah,
forget it. It's like the end of the world. I gotta see planes falling, things
yeah.
burning,
A lot of
everything's
Americans
chaos out of control.
is
Yeah.
very desensitized now because like we get news about how there's fires that are happening everywhere, or like disasters happening everywhere. It's kind of desensitizing. Like now it's like, oh, there's gonna be floods. So unless like something actually you can see something actually in your backyard, I don't think a lot of people are gonna pay mind to it.
Yeah. At this point, I'm like, I'm expecting zombies with the mushrooms growing out their head. At this point, nothing nothing is scary anymore.
Now, in times of crisis, do you guys feel like you're more the types to uh, flee or fight, freeze, or maintain?
I'd probably say maintain. I'd probably say just maintain, just keep going with my daily life and just try to keep some sanity.
Yeah.
Stop in there. Don't panic. Don't panic buy nothing. You're just like, okay, this is how it is. Take my one step at a time.
Yep. I mean, just reflecting on the pandemic, I didn't panic buy and shit. I just sort of maintained and took the precautions that they said to take.
Did you buy a bidet?
I use a cup to wash myself.
Oh my.
Don't need a bidet.
A drinking cup. And no, yeah. Like I think we only bought like one pack of toilet paper from Costco. I'm just like that was it. Like I'm like I had a bidet, so I'm like this thing did not deplete like for over a year. But yeah, for me, I personally feel like I would be. I'm not saying that it'd be like 100% of the time, but I'd probably be more likely to fight than anything, just because like my body does not feel natural unless there's action taken. So it's like I guess it's like that FOMO from lack of action type of thing. But yeah.
FOMO of lack of action.
So like
Yeah.
when I don't know when certain events come up in your life and like kind of like that story you're talking about when you got hit by the car, you're just like I should have just brought my phone and just like you know like took a picture of her license plate and sued the shit out of her. It's like one of those things. It's just like when the lack of action leads to those kinds of regrets, and it's like that's kind of where my mind and body instinctually act, where it's just like, all right, well, shit. What if I don't take action now, then I'm probably not going to be able to relive this moment like in the same way. So it's like do something. So it's like kind of where my actions kind of start to reflect like or start to kick into like this sort of like sleeper agent mode where it's like I'll do everything I can to like get it done. So yeah, it becomes like a survival thing. So perfect. Well, good example of this would be one morning when at 5 a.m. I was getting up to use the bathroom, and then I was getting up to use the bathroom, and I went to go check on my pets. I saw my wife was asleep in the bed, so this is literally not just within the span of like 20 seconds. So I'm making my way back to the bathroom, and I'm walking in my hallway. I didn't hear my wife move at all, and all of a sudden I see this dark figure just sort of like like slide down the hallway, like how usually when people are walking, there's some sort of like arc to their walk, so then they have like sort of like a bounce to their step. My wife doesn't have that. She has a very elegant way of walking. So my instinct in that measure was that something just made it into my house. I don't know what the fuck it is, but my first instinct was to punch it. I didn't punch my wife, but it was one of those things where it was like, like I was like 2 seconds away from doing it because I had a fist cocked back. But I've never felt myself react so quickly to that sort of situation.
Crazy. All right. We only got a minute and 30.
Closing thoughts?
Yeah. Don't panic. Be calm. Try to collect your thoughts before you act.
Even when you're upset, take a
You're
big
upset.
breath.
Take a deep breath.
Maybe touch yourself. Get that post-nut clarity so that you can make the right decisions.
That's going to take a little longer than just a brief moment.
Take a deep
Watch
breath.
all the PSAs.
What PSAs? What
Just
PSAs
anything.
involve Rob?
A whole bunch of PSAs. Like, for family emergencies, call this number. For an earthquake.
There's an Australian PSA about education, and it ends with a bunch of teenagers exploding in a minefield. And the message was like, stay in school, learn to read. Because
If not, you go to war.
No, because then like there was a sign that the kids like didn't look at that said "careful minefield." Like it was on a beach. So yeah, pretty gruesome commercial. But that's all the time we have. See you guys next week.
See ya.